It's working.
Welcome. It is working. You guys can see? Excellent. Yep. All right. Well, welcome to another QB Power Hour. Today, we're going to be talking about selling on Amazon. We're just really going to have a panel discussion from some friends of mine that I've worked with that have that do sell on Amazon. And so we really want to get their input as far as what that experience has been like from a business owner's perspective. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, Michelle, who would be normally co-hosting with us today, unfortunately, her husband had to take him to the doctor, not an emergency or anything, but just wanted to get him checked out. So she's not going to be joining us today. But as everybody knows, she's the owner of Long for Success. She's an international speaker, Intuit trainer, writer network. She's authored 5 books available on Amazon. So I was hoping to have her on as well, because now we have like a trifecta of people selling on Amazon. I'm the only one that doesn't sell something on Amazon here. What's that all about? But as you know, always join the Facebook group to keep the discussion going. As always, my name is Dan DeLong, owner of Dan With. I worked at Intuit for nearly 18 years. Your co-host today, also doing the workshop Wednesdays at schoolofbookkeeping.com and tech editing QBO for dummies. So that is selling on Amazon. So I guess I do sell something on Amazon, but I don't I don't sell anything on Amazon. So we have a couple guests today. So if I want to go ahead and toss it over to Randy. Randy, tell us a little bit about your business and give us a little introduction.
Sure. I'm Randy Horn. I actually have 2 companies that sell on Amazon. One is called Zobmondo. We are a 25-year-old company that manufactures and sells board games, as you can see in the picture there. And I have the business over the 25 years has evolved from selling at little mom and pop brick and mortar retail all the way to the largest Target, Walmart, all those big guys, also brick and mortar, now to primarily an Amazon seller. About 98% of our sales are on Amazon. And then we just launched a food company that is selling on Amazon. It's called Finally Chickpea Butters. They're like peanut butters that are made out of chickpeas. And so I'm fresh. It's fresh in my mind on how to launch products on Amazon also. And for better or for worse, I've had quite a bit of experiences in just about every corner of Amazon to this point.
So you're the Amazon seller expert of the panel here.
Okay,
so Eric, introduce yourself.
Sure. So my name is Eric Itis, and I'm CEO of PupPod. If you're not familiar with PupPod, you'll probably enjoy watching, and you like dogs, go just Google us or search for us on our website or YouTube or Facebook or TikTok, and you'll see a lot of awesome videos of dogs playing with our product, which is more or less a computer for dogs. So there's a toy that has a bunch of technology inside, and when the dogs interact with the toy at the right time, they earn food rewards from a connected feeder that also has a video camera, so you can stream your dogs playing the game to your phone. You can control the game from your smartphone with our smartphone app, and there's all kinds of scenarios for why customers are buying it. But basically, that's our product. We just have the one product, which will turn into you can think of more of like a platform with lots of games over time.
What was the genesis of PupPod? Where'd you get the idea for that?
Yeah, so it's kind of a confluence of three things that came together. The first was when I was a first-time pet owner back in about 2010. My dog would bark at the TV whenever he would see dogs come on TV. And one day we're watching some cartoon, and a cartoon dog came on TV, and he started barking at the cartoon dog, which just got me thinking that he was really processing information at a much different level than I had expected or that I really realized. And so it got me thinking about, what would he want to be interacting with if he could invent products rather than, just chewing on a piece of plastic or, or eating ripping a plush toy apart to get the squeaker out. It just didn't seem like that was the best we could do as humans for our dogs when we've advanced so much further with products for kids using technology and software. So it got me thinking about that issue, which really opened up the question of what would a dog invent if a dog could invent a computer. So I started thinking about what that could look like, and then in parallel I was seeing all my friends who had kids and folks that I knew with 3-year-olds giving them $500 iPads. And just when I worked on the early smartphone devices, I never realized that that was not a scenario that we thought was part of the product category, but clearly there was something there, and people wanted to keep their dog occupied and keep their kids occupied, either to take a break or just to they're in the car driving and they want to keep the kids entertained. The kids are learning things. So I thought there's an opportunity to do something similar for pet parents. There's nothing like that for pet parents in terms of using a technology tool. And then the third thing was starting the early smartphone products at Motorola and Microsoft. I had a chance to live through building a whole new product category. And as this kind of occurred to me that this is going to be a product category, it's definitely going to exist. So either I'm going to build it or someone else is going to build it. I decided I was going to build it. And so that was kind of the confluence of factors.
Nice. So, and if anybody goes to puppod.com or your website, your dog is actually in most of the videos, right? Or all of them, right?
Well, I mean, a lot of the material that we used to launch the site, since we didn't have as many videos from, at least for the version 2 product, with other dogs. Over time we got more of them. Now customers are posting way more than I am, so we're getting a lot more variety in breeds, and we can see all the breeds, we can see all the data from every dog in our back end. And really the game is a set of incremental cognition tasks. So we're probably on the leading edge of collecting cognition data on dogs at scale. Just with we have about 1,200, a little more than 1,200 units sold on version 2 since December, and we've passed over 1.4 million minutes of gameplay.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's some of the stats on how animals and people are using the product is pretty wild.
That's fantastic. So a little bit about the QB Power Hour webinar. So it's every other Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern. Of course, today we're talking about selling on Amazon, and next time we're going to be talking about what's new in QuickBooks Desktop 2022. And I've actually talked to my friends over at Intuit, and we're going to have Ted Callahan joining us. So, all of you accountants who got the confusing email about what changes about accountants, you might want to join us then. But we'll also be talking about what is actually new for, new coming for QuickBooks 2022 Desktop. And then we'll be talking the next time about the QBO Advanced users and roles. There's some changes and updates there. Of course, you have the links there for the PDFs of the slides, all the handouts, as well as watching the recordings and the podcasts of the Power Hour. Just a review or an update. Last time we had Money Thumb come on, and they offered a promotion to save $100 off the lifetime license. You just use QBPH at the checkout, and then in the slides there's a link directly, or you could go to qbpowerhour.com to find and get that promotion as well. A little bit of housekeeping. If you have some Q&A, please use the Q&A, especially now that Michelle's not here, to be able to manage the webinar as we're doing things. It's a lot easier if you have a specific question for either Eric or Randy or myself. Go ahead and just enter the Q&A in the Q&A section of the webinar. If you have comments, like Nancy is very excited about some of the upcoming webinars, you can put that in the chat. And then, of course, you have the handouts as well. So our topics today, we're going to talk about selling on Amazon, creating listings, some of the inventory concerns, fulfillment, and then sales tax concerns. And really, we're just going to be talking a little bit about, we're going to be talking mostly just as a discussion, because as we have our niche nuance series in the QB Power Hour, this is a pretty new type of thing for us, is having just only business owners. Normally when we have a niche nuance, we'll bring in an accounting professional who specializes in this sort of thing. But now we want to really kind of focus on some of the business concerns, so that if you have a client who is having these things, how to best understand those things and how to overcome them, when you're dealing with their back end bookkeeping things. So we'll start off with our first poll, which is, do you have any clients selling on Amazon? So Randy, we were talking a little bit about some of the history of your company, and you said right now are you primarily only selling on Amazon? How did that come to be?
Yeah, so I'm 99% Amazon. My board game business, I've had it for 25 years, and during around 2012, this is when retail really pretty much collapsed in the United States. Amazon, the retail really started squeezing small businesses like mine, both for margin and for just everything, promotional dollars. It seemed like really what they cared about was who was going to pay them the most money, not which game was going to sell the best. And so at that point, I got pretty disillusioned with brick and mortar with selling wholesale to brick and mortar retail. So I gradually started transitioning to Amazon. Up to that point, I was a vendor central Amazon seller, which means I just sold the product wholesale to Amazon and they did the rest. But I started tinkering with moving to seller central, and I realized I could make a little better margin even after all the fees, and I could control the inventory levels so I wouldn't run out of stock as much. And over a period of years, just got better and better at optimizing my Amazon sales. Last year, we sold over $1 million on Amazon, which makes us, I believe, in the top 1% of Amazon sellers. And then, of course, just launched a brand new food product on Amazon too. So it was just a series of circumstances that had me move there. And as we talked about earlier, we are starting to tinker for the first time with selling on Walmart's new, I think it's WFS, Walmart Fulfillment Services, which is their effort at duplicating what Amazon does. And I don't have much to report on that yet, other than, there's some hiccups. I would not expect Walmart to be competing on an equal level with Amazon anytime soon.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to remember what book I read, but it was I think it was the 4-Hour Work Week or something, where it's like you can't out Amazon. I mean, they have they have the market on being themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it looks like our first poll is pretty split. We have about almost half and half people who have clients working with selling things on Amazon, and those that don't. So this is great. All right, so we'll go on to the next slide here.
So anyway, that's a pretty big number, Dan. That's a pretty big number. I mean, 49% of your watchers. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So we did have some prior webinars where we talked a little bit about this is kind of like continuing in the niche nuance. We did have one that's specifically on e-commerce, where we had Veronica Wasik join us. She was the accounting professional who specializes in e-commerce across the board. And then we had WebGility come on to talk about simplifying some of the e-commerce accounting. And full disclosure, both of you guys use WebGility, and that's how I came to know you guys, right? Because Randy, you had a terrible problem with WebGility, and they recommended that I talk to you about trying to clear that up in your QuickBooks. And just so that people know, you're using desktop QuickBooks, even an old version.
Correct. Yeah.
of
Sorry.
of QuickBooks.
Dirty word.
Right. And then Eric, you're using QuickBooks Online, right? So, but you're using the online product of WebGility versus the desktop product. So, wide range, spectrum of experiences, but you're both needing to track inventory, and it can be done, in either platform. So let's talk a little bit about getting started with Amazon. How did you guys, Eric? We'll start with you. When you first started launching your product, when did it become, a part of your business model? It's like, okay, I'm going to have to deal with selling on Amazon, or did you say to yourself, oh, that's a no-brainer, I have to sell on Amazon?
Basically, the latter.
Mm-hmm.
We sold a version 1 product, a generation 1 product that where we partnered with a company for the feeder, and we just focused on the game, the toy, and they didn't sell their feeder on Amazon, so we couldn't really sell our toy on Amazon. We did try to sell it there, but then customers would be frustrated that the feeder wasn't also there. They couldn't just buy everything at once. So we were on Amazon just to kind of understand a little bit, but mostly we were selling off of, in other places in the generation 1 product. So then when generation 2 came out, we had already been feeling the pain of it not really working on with the Gen 1 product to be on Amazon. So yeah, that was part of our plan as part of the product launch for generation 2. Because then with generation 2, we control everything. We have the feeder and the toy, so we can put it all in one box. It all, is all branded together, and it just made sense to be on Amazon.
Now you, Eric, you actually don't solely sell on Amazon. You also sell on your website as well by using Shopify. Was that a two-pronged approach that you thought we need to sell some on Amazon, we need to sell some on our own website, or did that evolve?
No, right from we had our own website the whole time, from version 1, generation 1, and it's a place where people can learn about the product. You have a lot more control over, blogging and talking with your customers. And so for our product, since it's so unique, it's not like we're reselling something that everybody knows what it is. We really had to have a website to explain it, and then it made sense to sell it there too.
Right, because there's only so much you can say in your listing about what it is that you do, right?
It's even worse than that. One of the problems that we learned through the process is you can't generate awareness on Amazon. People know what they're looking for, and if you can align with a search string for their intent, then you're in the fight. But if they're not searching for you because they've never heard of your product, they've never thought about the solution that you brought to market, then it's almost impossible to generate awareness on Amazon.
Yeah, Randy, do you feel that that's been your experience as well?
Yeah, I mean, different product categories are different. So, like, between my food product and my game products, I can generate some awareness using keyword advertising on Amazon for the game products, because the keyword clicks are not too expensive. But I found that with the food products, keyword clicks in categories like gluten-free or something like that, they could be $5 a click, and obviously you can't make money when one click is $5. So it is different, and one of the big differences is, as we discussed, I sold at major retail for years, so some of my games already had a built-in brand equity to them, so people were looking for them, and I can leverage someone looking for my best-selling game and introduce them to some of our other games on Amazon. So, but everything Eric said makes a lot of sense. In fact, we're working on improving our Shopify presence right now too. So diversification, I think, is going to be important for us.
Now, Randy, you mentioned being a vendor central seller and then seller central. So explain a little bit about the difference between the two again, so that we have a better understanding.
Sure. Well, when you have a product and you sell wholesale, like let's just say I sell to a mom and pop game store, essentially you take let's call it a $20 game. You sell it to them basically for $10, and they have a 50% margin to work with and make money on their business. And I got to make money on the $10. And when you sell to Vendor Central, you're just selling to another wholesale customer. They're buying the product, you're shipping it to their warehouse. Once you ship it, it's no longer yours. And if they can't figure out how to sell it, then they're stuck with it. And Seller Central is different. Instead of Amazon being the seller, now Zobmondo is the seller. And so the inventory that I ship into Amazon's warehouse, I still own, and is my response. I pay a storage fee, I pay a fulfillment fee, instead of just getting paid a wholesale and having them take it from there. Now what's happening is I'm being billed service fees for everything Amazon does, whether it's fulfillment, returns, commissions, storage, freight into their distribution centers. So what I found is, although all those fees add up, I was able to make a slightly bigger margin on Seller Central. But most importantly, I was able to control the inventory levels. So if I knew the holidays were coming and I was going to sell a huge amount, much more than I was selling, let's say in August, I had the ability to load their distribution centers with product ahead of time so that I wouldn't run out of stock. Whereas when I was with Vendor Central, every Christmas I was out of stock. And it was very frustrating to see so much demand left on the table there. And that was a big reason for the shift.
Got it. So I in the slides, I've included a link there to it's Amazon's beginner's guide to selling on Amazon. So you get an understanding of, what it takes to set up an Amazon Seller Central account, making a listing, and choosing some of these fulfillment options. Like anything, there's fees. and Amazon has, what I've discovered by working with both of you is that the fees can be such a headache, right? Just trying to sort out, it's almost like at the point of like, they want to confuse you so much with all of their categories of fees that you give up, right? Is that what you've experienced, Randy? Because yours is convoluted to say the least.
Yeah, when you're selling, we sell items from $10 up to $40, and in December I could sell 1,000 units a day. We'll sell 30,000 units in just December, and sometimes there's fees that are 2 cents. Sometimes the exact same fee, Amazon will have 2 different names for it. It'll be the exact same fee, and they'll have the name of the fee will be 2 different completely random names. So yeah, this is exactly what happened. We got bigger and bigger on Amazon, and the minuscule transactional fees just were so numerous that it was almost impossible to manually keep up with them. I guess that's the best summary.
And what even makes it even more challenging is that these fees and the settlement doesn't happen on a daily basis. It happens every 2 weeks. So it's kind of like every so often there's this lump sum, and you hope it's correct.
Yeah.
And then sorting it out is certainly a challenge. And Eric, you have an interesting scenario about your fulfillment. You don't actually fulfill anything. You have Amazon fulfill everything, even the ones that are sold on your website, right?
Well, yes and no. Well, actually, no. We have a lot fulfilled through Amazon. We have to have 2 listings on Amazon, one for the manufacturer fulfilled listing, and one for one product. We have 2 listings. One's the manufacturer fulfilled listing, and one is the FBA listing, because if we run out of stock in FBA, Amazon won't show your FBA listing because they can't fulfill it, and they only want to show people things they can buy and ship right away. So we have to keep showing the manufacturer fulfilled listing And then that will come to us to figure out how to fulfill. And the customer can still buy that, and it's a lower price, kind of a lower price than the FBA listing, because we separate the product price and shipping. So it's weird. And then if a customer comes to our website to buy, we try to fulfill those through FBA, but if it's an international order, we can't. So we have to do the international orders out, not through FBA, on our own. As we ramp up with other retailers, for example, well, there's other retailers that are online that won't let you ship the product through Amazon. They want to drop ship, but that's their one requirement, is you can't use FBA for the fulfillment. You have to use something else. So it's complicated.
Yeah. And to even make it even more complicated, because you sell on your website and then fulfill through Amazon, in some of those scenarios, sometimes you'll have duplicated sales come into your QuickBooks, because you have it originating from one or the other, and then they come in, and we have to peel back the layers of the onion so that we're not crying at the end of it.
Well, and that's exactly why we pay for Webgility, and we're lucky to be working with you, so that you get to deal with that headache and not me.
Right. But really, it boils down to, these fees are kind of segregated into subscription fees, just paying the luxury of selling things on Amazon. They'll charge you a subscription fee, or you have the option to do pay as you go. But with the sheer volume of some of these listings, it makes sense sometimes to just do the subscription. And then the actual selling fees themselves, which is, as you sell something, there's a fee for that listing. So it's a pay as you sold. And then the shipping and the fulfillment fees are bundled on top of that. It's really how it kind of boils down. And as we mentioned, Amazon settlements are every 2 weeks, right? And you'll have a lump deposit that'll just show up into your bank account. You hope it's a deposit, right? It's not a withdrawal, but that's going to be the gross sales, any returns that have come in, because now returns is a challenge in and of itself. Working now with the seller, Randy, do you? I know you work with returns, but what are some of the challenges that you've seen with just in the returns aspect?
Yeah. So obviously, like I said, you have 50 to 60,000 orders a year, you're going to get returns. And our level of returns, although it is in the small single digits from a percentage standpoint, it's not insignificant, especially during the holidays. And what's tricky about it is, and just to give a little background, what Amazon does is, if a customer buys a product and it shows up and they decide that they don't want it, they go into Amazon and they process a return, and they get refunded. They get refunded immediately. And that refund shows up in your every 2 week statement. But then the question is, well, did they actually return the item? Because what Amazon does is it leaves that return as pending, even though it's taken the money back out of my account. It leaves it as pending. And if they never return the item, which happens very frequently, then at some point in the future, sometimes it's 60 days later, sometimes it's even longer, they will decide that this customer never returned it, and they will reimburse me for what they took away the first time. So you think about it, it's like, I got paid for the order, then I got the money taken away, and then I waited 60 days and the money came back. And so just trying to keep track of this from an accounting perspective, especially when you have 50,000 orders a year, it's really complicated.
Yeah, it's I'd hate to be the accountant in your books.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
yeah.
I am the accountant.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But as these Amazon settlements happen, they are just a lump sum, and then everything else, all the fees are pulled out in that settlement. Returns are taken out, and then you have the FBA fees and other fees that are just subtracted by that, and hopefully, it matches. But it's as we're understanding, that's a tall order sometimes, especially based on the volume and the moving parts that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
So let's launch our second poll, which is, do your clients sell on multiple online sales channels? So is it just Amazon that your clients sell on, or is it multiple places? And as we kind of mentioned, Randy, you're venturing into the other marketplaces. What about your own website and selling, specifically without dealing with Amazon? Has that been something that you've considered or done?
Yeah, we have a Shopify website. We're just not very good at it, and we're working on getting better. Not the least of which is because, as Eric mentioned, Amazon is not that reliable in keeping products in stock. Even if I know how much they need, they don't always listen to me, and they're starting to restrict inventory where they hadn't in the past because they're running out of DC space with so many people. So selling on Shopify direct to consumer is becoming something that we need to get better at, and we're actually working on that right now to try to figure that out. So I think for me, whether it's Walmart's online marketplace or selling on Shopify, I'm trying to diversify or beginning to diversify now so that I don't have all my eggs in one basket with Amazon.
Right. Because now you're kind of at their mercy, right?
Yeah.
And if policy changes, then there you are, with all your games.
Yeah, totally.
Got it. All righty. So it looks like, let me go ahead and share the results. Looks like a lot of people are selling in multiple sales channels that do sell online. Some don't even sell online at all, or about 13% just in Amazon only. I did have a question I wanted to bring up to either of you, so I'll toss it out there. Dana said, I have a client that sells handmade jewelry on Amazon, which I do too. Managing listings, promotions, pricing can be a full-time job. Do either of you have any suggestions for listing management as far as managing your listings on Amazon or other marketplaces?
Eric, you want to go first?
Well, since we only have one product, it's not as complex. I know there are ways within Shopify to push your listing content and sync it with Amazon. I think Shopify has actually just come out with a new Amazon connector. We've intentionally decided that if people want to fund Jeff Bezos' space missions, they can pay more. So on our website, we sell PuttPod for $199, and on Amazon we sell it for $119 plus $10 for shipping. So it ends up being, $219. So it ends up being $230 with shipping, or with FBA it's $230. So if you want to pay an extra $30 for the convenience of Amazon, go for it. If you want to get a better deal, buy it on our website. It's kind of been our approach to the price management. Because we're so central, so we have control over the price. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's all right. I sell 13 games and 4 different food products. And so, what it sounds like the person with the jewelry business is describing a continually changing, product listing. And I will say that I use an agency to help me with Amazon advertising, but unless your business is really large, agency fees, my agency is very expensive. They're several $1,000s a month. And so unless your Amazon business is very large, I don't think that's really practical. I'm afraid that my answer really is, if your product listing is constantly changing, I think it can be difficult. And I also have one little thing to add to what Eric said, and I'm kind of curious how this plays out. I have had my Amazon listings pulled down before because Amazon's bots have discovered the same item for a lower price on the internet, and Amazon wants to be the lowest price. So I'm very careful. Now, when you're controlling the price in both sides, you have control of that. But, I have found that I have to make sure that Amazon's price is at least as low as anyone else's, including my own, or else they'll delist me. So, that it's always a concern. That's always a concern that I'm looking at.
Have you ever had, Eric, your listing taken down or that you've noticed?
The only time we ran into a problem with the listing not being visible was when we ran out of inventory on FBA, which is why we created the manufacturer fulfilled listing.
Right.
But no, we haven't had. Sometimes they'll kind of mess around with the buy box, but that's typically when they run out of FBA stock, and it's going to be where we have inventory. Anyway, it's usually related to FBA, not related to price issues.
Got it. And we're going to talk a little bit about inventory considerations. So, one of the things that you have is, who is fulfilling your orders? Where is that inventory located? And when we talk to, I talked to Avalara, the sales tax. Sometimes just where your inventory is physically located might give you a physical presence in that state. And that may have some sales tax considerations, not just, because sales tax is a concern, but, Amazon's nice enough to do the collections for you and remit those sales tax payments for you. But it's sometimes, you just the fact that your inventory is sitting in Missouri or wherever that, happens to be might now put you over that threshold of now you need to remit a sales tax report to that state, just because that's where they happen to have your fulfillment your inventory physically located. So let's talk a little bit about the challenges, and we could have a whole hour just on some of the challenges. Big thing, returns occurring outside of the settlement. If it all happens within that 2 weeks, that's fine. But that's not typically how it happens. Randy is, as he mentioned, sometimes that could be months, before they actually return the product, or if they don't at all, they consider it lost, and then they give you the money back. No argument that the fees are complicated, convoluted. I think just kind of setting up within Webgility, there's like 20, there's 6 categories, and within those, each of those fees are, and they're all like code, right? I mean, they don't make sense unless you need a decoder ring, to understand where this fee versus that fee, marketplace competition. If you're selling something that's not unique, that can be a big challenge as well. Have you, Randy, have you seen that with other listings or listers or other resellers competing with your product?
Yeah, in fact, it's one of the reasons. So first of all, obviously we have tons of competitors that sell board games that are similar to ours. Anybody who's selling a preschool game, I sell a preschool game, so I'm a competitor with them. But it is also not uncommon for another person to be selling the Ladybug game at the same time I am. But one of the things you can do about that is become the brand owner, I think it's called. I can't remember exactly what Tara could probably know. When you're actually the brand owner, and it gives you some flexibility to prevent people you don't know from reselling your product at some kind of fire sale price. Maybe they found some at a thrift store or something like that. And so we leverage that brand ownership all the time to control other people selling our product. There's only so much you can do about it. I mean, if they've legitimately purchased the product and want to resell it and want to use their own copy and such on the product listing, there's not that much we can do about it. But there is some control over, just to make sure that you're not having people steal your copyrighted content or graphics and things like that.
Yeah, one of my other clients, he was dealing with knockoffs, not just with. I mean, somebody actually, it was the jeweler, and someone was manufacturing and selling a complete knockoff of his jewelry, and he was a solopreneur, right? So he didn't have, you know, like the meme says, nobody got time for that. I mean,
yeah,
he couldn't spend his time trying to chase down, you know, knockoff listings to be, you know, and run his business at the same time. And then what is your experience been with these kind of issue resolutions when you do have, you know, some of these challenges with working with Amazon? Eric, you want to talk about?
Like trying to push water uphill.
Yeah.
It's they're the worst company on the planet. If you could think of the worst way to run customer support, you couldn't even imagine making a system that's as bad as Amazon. It's not, I couldn't even comprehend. I can't comprehend some of the things that they've done, some of the it's just, I have our first full-time hire was for customer engagement, and luckily he gets to deal with Amazon, our customer engagement
Not
guy.
you.
No, I did it for months, and it's if you have high blood pressure, you do not want to be dealing with Amazon. They are infuriating.
The
let me just give one example. So
Sure.
we sell, the customers will put food in the feeder, and then they decide, hey, I don't want to return the product. They send it back to Amazon. Amazon will take that product without inspecting it, make sure that there's no food in there, send it to another new customer, and then the new customer gets a brand new unit, and guess how that smells after it's been shipped for a couple weeks back and forth with dog food in there. And this is out of our control. So now we have every customer return come back to us, just so that this doesn't happen, because that's just not the way you want to start off a relationship with a new customer. And
we do the same thing.
There's just so many, like we have products that, you know, Amazon will say, oh yeah, that was delivered, and the customer is telling us it was never delivered. Like, I live in a building, we have somebody who, you know, puts it in a storage locker when the packages come in, and Amazon's like, our records say it was delivered, and we're out. The rule of thumb is anytime there's an issue, the brand has to be the one that sucks it up. Amazon pushes everything to the brand.
Yeah, and that's what I've experienced from just working with you guys, is that, you know, Amazon's a great company when you're a customer. You know, they put all of their customer service to their customers. You know, it's super easy to return things. It's really easy to order things, and they're very good at marketing to you. But then, you know, and even just from the website that you guys have to log into from the Seller Central, it's like it hasn't been updated since, you know, the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Oh, it's worse than you can imagine. Like, I've tried to send them more inventory, and if you make a mistake in this convoluted form to just replenish your inventory, you can't just say, oh, I want to delete that and start over. You have to wait like 12 to 24 hours for their system to let you remove the fulfillment, you know, the inventory replenishment process that you started, which is just mind-boggling. I can't think of any other company that would make you wait 24 hours before you could hit delete on something where you made a mistake and just do it over again. It's nuts.
Yeah, you really have to factor in an extraordinary amount of bureaucracy into your business model at Amazon. I mean, I've learned that at certain times, we'll process a pallet for shipment in, and every day they say they're coming and they never come pick it up. And you call their support group, and their support group says, "Oh yeah, let me put a rush on this. We'll have it tomorrow," but nobody comes. I've just gotten so used to it that I've kind of looked at it as part of doing business. I expect Amazon to be bad at what they do.
The worst.
So why do you do it? Why do you work with them?
Yeah.
If they're so bad.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a huge marketplace. And which serves the entire country. So I don't, somebody who lives in rural Oregon can purchase the product and have it delivered. It's kind of like a necessary evil, at least for my business.
Yeah, like we were talking, they're kind of the drunk uncle at the family gatherings. You kind of know you're not quite sure what's going to happen, but you do know that you're probably not going to like it.
Yeah.
Well, but we used to have a mix of like 60-40 between our website, and about 60% and 40% on Amazon. And then when I raised the price on Amazon, we saw about 20% of the traffic shift to our website, which was perfect, which was great. I'm happy with that. We're up there for the people that want to pay the Jeff Bezos tax, and for the people who want to price search and save some money, they actually can do that on our website. Because the thing, and kind of going back to the question that the lady asked about jewelry and pricing, is all of Amazon is geared. It's a flea market. It's all geared around discounts. So if you want to incorporate discounts into your pricing strategy, it can work. You don't sell Teslas on Amazon because the brand is valuable enough and they deliver value. They don't deliver price cuts. And that's more the model that I want for our brand. So if you're not constantly reducing your price and giving discounts and coupons and all that kind of stuff, then you're not really in Amazon doesn't have much interest in promoting you. They only really want to promote the people who are constantly dropping their price and running the price down to the lowest common denominator, where a business can just barely squeak by. That's the Amazon formula.
Yeah, and they've tapped into price is loyalty, right? If you and they've built technology around, finding the right price, they have ways to scour the internet, and find the same products that they sell or fulfill, and find out where they're being sold, and immediately. I mean, I forget what the statistic is,
worse
but
than that. I think that their strategy is to put you out of business and if there's demand for your product, someone will sell it for less until you get to the lowest common denominator or the lowest possible margin that a manufacturer can sell for. So Amazon has no qualms about me going out of business. If there's a demand for whatever I'm making, someone will come to fill that demand for a penny less. That's how they see brands.
So here we are in the not Amazon fan club.
That's the reality. It's just reality. This is who they are.
Yeah. All right.
We've even had people who were our customers who were ex-Amazon people that could recognize all the codes, and they could tell us all the problems that were going on with their own order inside of Amazon. I mean, this is there's some upside to Amazon, but there's a lot of downside.
Yeah, I mean, I think the upside to Amazon is it's one of the first places people go to look for something. And there is a huge audience there. And, everything Eric's saying is completely right. I value that huge audience. And so, I'm trying to figure out a way to make money, with kind of compensating for all these Amazon flaws.
Yeah. So I just want to talk a little bit about some of the questions that we've seen here. Some people saying, I appreciate the candor. Right.
Oh, this is a therapy session.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Eric, you're inviting a new uncle to the to the
Yeah.
party because because of your business is expanding into Chewy, which is it is the Amazon of pets, right? What has been your experience so far? I know what I could say, but want to hear it from you.
I have high potential. There are some very big differences between Chewy and Amazon, even though they're both these online, e-commerce destinations. It's a little too early to know if Chewy is going to be as frustrating as Amazon, but it's going to be way more frustrating than dealing with humans. You're still dealing with a cyborg and an AI machine. So, we sometimes we will talk about how to deal with something. And if it really boils down to we're interacting with software and not people, then at some point we have to just kind of move on. And if you're dealing with either of these companies, there's a big part of your interaction, which is going to be with software, not people.
Randy, has that been your experience?
Yeah, I mean, it is very frustrating when, with Amazon, you can talk to a person. That person is usually in India or somewhere else. And quite frankly, that person has a computer screen in front of them that's telling them how to answer your question. They really don't know. I can't tell you how many times I've felt like that person, when I'm called, has given me an answer that they're hoping will just get me off the phone. It's really not correct. But other than that, you're exactly right. I mean, look, right now, Amazon will only allow me to send in a certain amount of inventory. I know for sure that inventory is not going to be enough to satisfy my holiday demand. I also know for sure that come end of October, Amazon's DCs will be so congested that they won't be able to receive new inventory. I know this, but yet Amazon's computer system will only allow me to send in a certain amount of inventory, and no human being is going to be able to override that algorithm. And so these are constantly changing struggles with Amazon as they get more and more massive. And it's what's causing Eric and I to seek diversification.
And you'll send them the inventory, no problem. And it's on the truck, and then the truck driver has to get an appointment to even drop it off. That could be weeks, literally weeks, before the truck driver even can drop off your inventory to Amazon. And then Amazon, at their own discretion, moves your inventory around their system and redistributes it between distribution centers and fulfillment centers. And when
that's happening, it's not for sale. By
exactly.
the way, I mean, when
they've got your inventory and your customers can't get the product fulfilled, and they can't. It's so you have to plan on 2 months, 60 days for the redistribution of your inventory, and there may be nothing that's fulfillable, and then 50 units will pop up or 3 units will pop up. I mean, it's so random. And then those units get sold, and then you're out again until they move them around, even though they've got your inventory.
It's funny. I'm listening to us talk, and I'm feeling exactly what you just asked: is why on earth would anyone do this? And look, the answer is, last year I sold $1 million worth of board games on Amazon. Okay, I made a profit on it. I didn't make as much profit as I could have if they ran a better operation, but I made a profit on it, and that's the reason I'm there. And that's the reason I'm constantly trying to figure out how to prevent Amazon from putting me out of business.
All right, so I'm going to launch the last poll, which I don't know, it's kind of a loaded question. Do you feel better or worse about working with an Amazon seller? So yeah, better. I learned something that will help me today, or worse, not today, Amazon. Not today.
It's funny. I will say this, accountants, bookkeepers, you're really necessary with people like us because Amazon's so difficult. So you know, as much as it will not be easy, you know, you can become an expert in a way that you become almost indispensable to the client. And I think that's an opportunity.
Oh yeah, I've taken on a life insurance policy on Dan.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And WebGility it's not inexpensive, but it is a good tool. And I'm pretty critical about these things. And the way we got to Dan was through WebGility, and it's worked out great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so WebGility for me has been a little more challenging. Again, I think it's because I have 50,000 orders a year. So these are tiny transactions. Each order will sometimes have 7 or 8 Amazon transactions in there, with just a few cents a piece. And I have tested the capabilities of WebGility, no doubt.
Yeah, and you were when I first met you, Randy, you were ready to throw in the WebGility towel.
I was.
Maybe go somewhere else, and we worked through it. So we did find a happy medium.
Yeah, we did. And it's and Eric's right. If you're trying to manage inventory, I'm not sure there's a better option, really. In fact, I'm not sure there's another option, you know?
Yeah, Amazon does not make it easy to extract data into QuickBooks.
Yeah, it does not.
It would be extremely tedious to do that without WebGility.
Yeah, and I think why I like WebGility so much, especially for Amazon, is actually the CEO of WebGility worked at Amazon, so he knew when he was creating the product, he was creating it for Amazon, and then realized, oh, this might make an independent marketplace solution, and then that's when he started his own company. So you know, he understood what Amazon sellers were dealing with. And made that, you know, available. And, you know, some of the comments that we've seen here, I didn't end the poll here. It looks like we're, 58%, not today. Run screaming from an Amazon seller. I'm not a therapist.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the challenges that come up are answered by that, and other people have seen, you know, True Commerce or some of the other platforms that do synchronize. A2X is a great one if you're not concerned about tracking your inventory inside of QuickBooks, but you guys are, so that really kind of ruled that out for us.
Right.
Because and somebody had asked, well, what are we doing? You know, what are you guys doing to manage your inventory? Talk a little bit about what it is that you do in as far as QuickBooks tracking your inventory is concerned. Randy, you're a little bit more.
Well, I have 13 items, and I have it all. I have all my inventory warehoused in a warehouse in Los Angeles. And prior to using WebGility, literally, we had, a binder that tried to keep track of what the inventory was in Amazon's DCs, added to what the inventory was in our own warehouse, and it was tedious and uncertain, to be honest with you. And that is almost the primary reason that we went to WebGility, is because, you know, when someone buys a product, returns it, then doesn't actually return it, and then Amazon puts it back into inventory as sellable, or doesn't put it back into inventory as sellable. This is all very complicated, and WebGility does a pretty adequate job of keeping track of that. So that was a huge thing for me. I need to know how much inventory I have, because I'm ordering, I'm building the product in China and shipping it over. And so I need to know. And so that's the reason we did it.
And then Eric, you have, since you just have one, I'm not to say just one, but you primarily sell one bundled product. And the fact that it's being manufactured over in China, you have those concerns of lead time, right? Like how long, what you mentioned before about the guy needing an appointment to deliver it to Amazon. You're gonna have to build that in to how are you how are you managing that? Now you're using QuickBooks Online to track that, which is, you know, a lot of people would say not an inventory management component. What are you? What I mean, I know the answer, but you want to tell others.
Well, our like you said, we only have the one product. So our inventory management is much more to date has been pretty. That's not the biggest problem that we have to automate for. We can pretty much track that manually because that's not that complicated. I guess is the short answer.
Yeah.
Was there something else that I missed? Did I miss answer your question? Did I miss the point?
Well, what we've done to help with that is we've created basically sub items of those items, and we've had one where it's in manufacturing because it takes some time for the manufacturing process. We've created then it's in transit. So once you have the notification of when it's in transit, we move it, you know, while it's in transit, so you can see at any moment, looking at where is your inventory. And that's how we're kind of handling that in QuickBooks Online, because we can't track the manufacturing process in QuickBooks, but we've developed that workaround to be able to do that.
Yeah, you came up with a good solution, because sometimes we don't actually quote unquote buy our product. We'll buy components for our product, then buy printed circuit boards, like electronics components, because I don't know if the accounting world is plugged into the global chipset crisis, but we had to buy chips. It took us about 3 months just to buy chips for our product because of this the global crisis around the shortage. And so we were actually in QuickBooks then issuing POs for components of the product that had to roll up to the final product at the end of manufacturing, in transit, and then really actually being available for sale. And you came up with a good solution there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the tip of the hat there. So yeah, it looks like we're at the top of the hour. I really appreciate you both coming on and being so candid about your experiences with the drunk uncle of online retailing. And so next time on the QB Power Hour, we're going to be talking about what's new in QuickBooks Desktop 2022. Randy, you might want to look into
given that I'm using 17.
Well, that's how you do your margins, right? You know, don't update every year. So
many small leaks sink a giant ship, Dan.
Fantastic. So thank you both for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule and just to have a chat about and letting our folks know about what it is like to be an Amazon seller. So now you know a little bit about what you're in for if you're dealing with with an Amazon seller. And we'll see you guys next time on the QB Power Hour.